How to lose belly fat. I keep doing ab workouts, but my belly fat isn't going anywhere. What am I doing wrong? If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Today we're going to talk about why training your abs is probably not the best way to get a smaller waist and what actually works if your goal is to lose belly fat. Let's start with something that surprises a lot of people. Exercises do not burn belly fat. This fitness myth was debunked more than 40 years ago. Since then, researchers have carried out several more studies to find out whether it's possible to lose fat from a specific part of the body by training that area. One of the more amusing studies came out in 2022. Researchers asked participants to train only one leg while leaving the other one alone. If spot reduction were real, the trained leg should have become leaner. It didn't. The researchers found no meaningful difference between the two legs. In other words, local fat burning doesn't exist. That's why doing endless crunches to get rid of belly fat is a waste of time. Your abdominal muscles will definitely become stronger, and that's a good thing, but the fat covering those muscles won't disappear simply because you're training that area. So, where does the fat go? Everywhere! When you exercise, your body doesn't pull energy only from the fat around your stomach. It draws energy from fat stores throughout the body. Some comes from your arms, some from your back, some from your hips, and some from your waist. Fat loss happens across the entire body, and it happens quite evenly. Scientists have measured this in different ways over the years. One study used skin-fold measurements, another used more different methods. No matter how they measured it, the conclusion stayed the same. The fat loss is a wild body process, not a local one. Physiologists have known this for a long time. At this point, you might be rounding something. Its spot reduction doesn't exist. Why does belly fat seem stubborn? Why do some people see definition in their arms after a couple of months while their stomach barely changes? The answer is genetics. Different people store fat in different places. Some people gain more in their fat around the waist. Others tend to store it in their legs. Others carry more fat in their arm or upper body. Research suggests that genetics plays a major role in determining where fat is stored. Estimates vary, but studies suggest that genes account for roughly 40 to 70% of this difference. Men generally store more fat around the abdomen. Women tend to store more around the hips and thighs. For the most part, that's determined by biology rather than person's choice. Unfortunately, when you're losing weight, you don't get to choose where the fat comes off first. Your body decides that for you. There is another reason belly fat gets so much attention. A protruding belly is not only a cosmetic issue, it can also be a health issue. There are two main types of fat around the abdomen. The first is subcutaneous fat, which sits differently under the skin. That's the fat you can pinch with your fingers. The second is visceral fat. This fat is stored deep inside the body around the internal organs. The visceral fat is the one doctors worry about the most. It's associated with a high risk of several health problems and tends to be much more harmful than subcutaneous fat. I should probably make a separate video about visceral fat because it's an interesting topic on its own. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments. For now, let's back to the main question. How do actually lose belly fat? The answer is surprisingly simple. You need a calorie deficit. That means your body has to use more energy than it receives from the food. There are different ways to create this deficit. You can eat a little less, you can move more and burn more calories, or you can combine both approaches. In this video, I'm not going to get into the details of how to lose weight safely and effectively. That's a topic for another day, but I will give you one important piece of advice. Don't rush and don't starve yourself. Extreme diets rarely work for very long. A moderate calorie deficit is usually much easier to maintain and much less likely cause problem. I would also strongly recommend doing some form of strength training while you're losing weight. The goal isn't simply to make the number of the scale smaller. You also want to perceive your muscle mass. I've already made several videos about sarcopenic obesity, but the short version is this. If you lose weight while also losing a lot of muscle, you can end up looking thin while still carrying too much body fat. People often call this being skinny fat. You're lighter, but you're not necessarily healthier. And most people aren't particularly happy with how they look in that situation either. So let's sum everything up. Exercises do not remove more fat from your stomach than from any other part of your body. They strengthen your abdominal muscle, but they don't tell your body where to burn fat. If your goal is to get rid of belly fat, focus on reducing your overall body fat through a substantial calories deficit while keeping your muscle mass through resistance training. That's what the evidence supports. If you found this video useful, give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't lose track of it later. And a big thank you to everyone who supports the channels. Your support helps me to continue making these videos. I'm Mr. Half Marathon. See you next time. Stay healthy, stay lean, and take care.